If the Bills are going on a run in 2025, they have to get back to mismatches on offense. I'll explain today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of the Herd Mentality Substack, co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, co-host of the NFL First Read Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. I want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Locked On Bills is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Well, folks, welcome in. The Bills are coming out of their bye week, and I think we've all had a great opportunity to reflect on what this team has shown us through 6 games and some consideration to what they need to prove the rest of the way. And I think we can all land on this team has a lot to prove. Obviously, expectations are high, and maybe we don't feel great about those being met. But if they are going to be met, there are some things that have to be different. And so on this episode today, I want to take you through 9 things that I think the Bills need to do to improve, 9 steps to improve and give the team their best opportunity to go on the run we all want them to this year. Now, all but one of my steps is going to involve the Bills doing something different, whether that's offensively or defensively or maybe some lineup adjustments. But then I do have one idea for how the Bills can improve by adding to the roster. So we'll get to that later on. But I want to start with some things for the offense. And my number one thing for the Bills on offense is to be reminded that your mismatch offensively is your ability to be two-dimensional out of heavy formations. Your big people are your advantage. You hear Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane talk about it all the time. It's a mismatch league. It's about matchups and how do you put the other team in conflict. Well, how does the Bills offense put other defenses in conflict? It's by what they can do out of heavy personnel groupings, multiple tight ends, multiple running backs on the field with that offensive line, with that quarterback, Josh Allen. That's your mismatch. It's what the Bills can do running the football out of 2 and 3 tight end sets. And in addition to that, throwing the ball. They have unique offensive personnel. They have a really good pass-catching tight end in Dalton Kincaid. They've got a really good running back in James Cook who is multifaceted. He can catch the ball and he can run it. They have a balanced player in Dawson Knox. Jackson Hawes is the truth as a blocker. Now, mix in receivers, whether that's Shakir or Palmer or whatever you want to do, but your bread and butter is what you can do with those big people. That's the conflict that you can create. And that's why coming out of the Patriots and Falcons games, I was so disappointed with Joe Brady and the approach offensively is because I think they severely missed their opportunity to stress those defenses in the best way that they can, which is being two-dimensional, being able to run and throw out of those big people formations. Against New England, it was, hey, these guys have good corners, and they got some good defensive linemen, but they don't have good coverage players at linebacker and safety. Throw the ball out of your heavy personnel. The Bills didn't really do it. They did it twice. They got 23 yards on one play and 20 on the other. Against Atlanta, smallest front in the league, run the freaking ball. And when you run the ball out of those big personnel groupings, boy, it's going to be tough for them to not only play downhill with a smaller defense, but then what that opens up in your passing game. And to me, that's what the Bills got away from. When Sean McDermott says this offense got too cute, I think that's what he means. Get back to your bread and butter. Get back to what your team does that makes other teams nervous. They're not nervous about 11 personnel. They're nervous about how do we defend the run with that running back, that offensive line, and those big people, and Gilliam and Hawes and Kincaid and Knox, and how they can throw the ball out of that. That's what you're nervous about. So do that. Do that more. I think the Falcons were exactly the team. They showed you against the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. They're exactly the team I told you they were all week long. The Bills just chose not to attack them in an optimal way. So number one, your big people are your advantage. That's your mismatch. Number two, offensively, is less Keon Coleman. Less Keon Coleman. Right now, Keon Coleman leads Bills wide receivers in snaps by 50, and he leads the team in targets. That should make you puke. And I'm not saying that Keon Coleman can't be a meaningful part of this offense and he can't be a good player, but by no means does he deserve the most snaps and the most targets. Based on what? Sean McDermott tells us that playing time is earned. How did he earn it? It's obviously not because he's doing everything he's supposed to do at the facility, because he's now been suspended twice. Twice in less than a year and a half. For immaturity and not doing all the things he's supposed to do to prepare. And then we've all watched the film. Make a few plays here and there, but mostly it's highly inefficient. So what is it? How do you justify Keon Coleman being the guy that has played the most snaps at receiver by 50, including a game where he was suspended at the beginning, and leads your team in targets? Based on what? Because he was the 33rd pick in the draft and Josh Allen wanted him, so you're trying to validate it as a good pick? This team doesn't need more Keon Coleman. It needs less Keon Coleman. So, yeah, I think you can get better by having less of him involved as your leading snap taker and your leading option in terms of targets. The player that Josh Allen has thrown the ball to most this year is Keon Coleman. I can't make that make sense. It doesn't. So if you have less Keon Coleman, that means more of something else. And I mean, that's so obvious to me. It's more Kincaid. It's more Josh Palmer. Right now, these dudes are showing a lot. And you watch the tape, you see some really good skill sets. Among the 109 receivers and tight ends this year, there's 109 receivers and tight ends that have run at least 100 routes this year. Kincaid is number one among tight ends and number 4 among all players in yards per route run. Josh Palmer is 15th among wide receivers this year in yards per route run, 17th overall. Where's Keon Coleman? 63rd. You have highly efficient players in Palmer and Kincaid. Good things happen when you throw them the ball. Do it more. Do it more. And do it less to Keon Coleman. Fantasy Points Data Suite has a cool metric called yards per target over expectation. Among those 109 players with at least 100 routes run, Dalton Kincaid is 8th in the NFL in yards per target over expectation. Josh Palmer is 12th. Keon Coleman is 85th. Involve Kincaid and Palmer more. Involve Coleman less. All right. There's more that I want the Bills to do more of offensively, which I'll explain here on the other side of it, and we will get into a lot of stuff regarding the defense. So, folks, be sure to stick with me.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs. With features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance, you can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go, while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model. You can feel the craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, folks, welcome back. We're working through 9 steps for the Bills to improve in season. I've given you the first 3. And they were, number 1 is your big people are your advantage on offense. Number 2 is less Keon Coleman. Number 3 is more Dalton Kincaid and Josh Palmer. And number 4 is more utilization of the running backs in the passing game. You got to throw the ball more to James Cook, especially, but also Ty Johnson and Ray Davis. You have 3 very, very capable receiving backs. And the Bills were last year a team that needed to throw the ball more to running backs. And in terms of metrics, like very comfortably the best team in the league throwing the ball to running backs, but they were like 20th in targets. Well, we got a similar story brewing this year. Right now, through 6 games, the Bills running backs only have 17 catches. Should probably be double that. 14% of the passing targets are to running backs. That's 30th in terms of frequency in the NFL. And so not only do good things happen when you throw the ball to these running backs, but there's another benefit to this. And you have to use these running backs in the passing game to make teams pay for how they're playing Josh Allen. Teams are not afraid to commit a spy or a mere player on Josh Allen. They're not afraid to be intentional with how they're containing him in the pocket. Your way of making them pay for that choice has to be involving these running backs more in the passing game. And that's what they all can do. It's not like I'm saying, hey, make them do something that's not in their wheelhouse. These are 3 guys that are very, very talented pass-catching backs, all 3 of them. And I think the Bills have to move past, like, whatever that was in 2023 when James Cook had all those drops. Like, you saw, like, he was in position to make some big-time plays. Get back to that stuff. It's there. And it doesn't have to just be, flat routes or rail routes. You can have them run regular routes. You should be able to create mismatches with those running backs against linebackers and safeties that they put on them. But ultimately, making teams pay for having that spy or that mere player on Josh Allen. The defenses should be in trouble. Like, however you choose to play the Bills, they should be able to make you pay. And that just hasn't happened as much this year. So more running back involvement in the passing game. They shouldn't be bottom of the league in percentage of throws to running backs when you have James Cook, Ty Johnson, Ray Davis, and teams that are, containing your quarterback in the pocket at the best I've ever seen. So those are my main pillars offensively. I think those are some things. I mean, you can get into some nitty-gritty like protection schemes, and Osiris Torrance has to be a lot better with how he's playing these protection schemes and things like that. But I think those are 4 very practical steps that the Bills can take to be better offensively. Now let's talk defense. My number 5 point is obviously the onboarding, acclimation, whatever you want to call it, of Michael Hoyt and Larry Agan Joby to this defensive line. This is not nothing. This is a pretty big deal. And I'm not going to sit here and try to sell you like the Bills are getting Bryce Paup and Kyle Williams added to their defense. That's not what I'm trying to say, but these are 2 good players. And let's actually start with Larry Agan Joby. 60% 60% of the snaps the Bills have had at defensive tackle this year have been taken by either rookies or practice squad players. Larry Agan Joby's been in the league for a long time. He knows how to play. He's seen inside zone. He's seen counter. He knows how to step with that. He knows where to be. I'm not going to sit here and promise you that he's this highly disruptive playmaking presence, but he's a veteran with know-how, and he's athletic. And that'll help. You're talking about a single gap Bills defense. If it's creased in any way, guys are gone. Larry Agan Joby is going to help mitigate that. And think about this defensive tackle group. If healthy, Ed Oliver and Larry Agan Joby, Deion Walker and Daquan Jones. That's a lot more attractive than the Bills are calling up Zion Logan, Fidarian Mathis, and Jordan Phillips. And obviously we want to see more from TJ Sanders. Hopefully he can get back and healthy and help this team. But this arrival of Larry Agan Joby is a big deal. And then I'm really excited for Michael Hoyt. I think he unlocks a lot of the creativity that you can have with your rush schemes. You also can use him in a lot of different ways to play, off the ball, off the edge. He's athletic. He's urgent. He brings a motor. He just unlocks more of the defense. And when you think about right now, Joey Bosa is playing 68% of snaps. A.J. Epinesa is playing 42%. You've had 111 snaps in 6 games go to Javon Solomon and Landon Jackson. Now that's going to Michael Hoyt. That's a better player. And so you get Bosa down a little bit, you get Epinesa down a little bit, and you take all the Solomon and Jackson snaps and they go to Michael Hoyt, and you're better at defense. But most importantly, you got to get these guys going, figure out how to use them, and allow them to make an impact. Number 6, Shaq Thompson at linebacker. I don't think the Bills are going to do anything with Terrell Bernard. I don't. I think that's their Mike linebacker. They love him there. But Shaq Thompson has been your best linebacker this year. And I don't know what to think about Matt Milano. When he's available, he's a pretty good player, but he's not quite what he used to be. And obviously, you just never know when he's going to get back in the lineup and then leave the lineup again, right? And so whether it's thinking about how to incorporate Shaq Thompson in place of Bernard or Milano, because I think he's been a better player, or the Bills have played 24% base defense this year. That's a very easy opportunity to get Shaq Thompson on the field. Bottom line is I think you got to really consider your options. I think the most practical step is Shaq Thompson is your Mike linebacker, and you start to think about Terrell Bernard as your weak side player. I think that's probably a bit drastic for in season, but I would be thinking about all this stuff because your linebacker play has not been good enough this year, and your best one's been Shaq Thompson. I'd try to find ways to get him on the field. So as we start this defensive conversation, it's really about Michael Hoyt and Larry Agan Joby, getting them up to speed, and then Shaq Thompson and what he can offer to your linebacker core. But I'd figure out ways to get him on the field. All right, we got more to cover. I got 3 more items, including a possible trade. But before we get there, I would like to remind you about the event that I'll be part of this weekend ahead of Bills versus Panthers here in Charlotte. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. There's been a lot of people that have been asking, hey, are you going to have an event, anything that we can be part of that weekend? And the answer is yes, absolutely. October 25th at 1 p.m. At the Waxhaw Tap House. I'm going to be part of a day before takeover event. Again, Waxhaw Tap House, October 25th, 1 p.m., hanging out till about 5 o'clock. There's going to be food, games, entertainment, giveaways. It's a great venue. I'd love to meet you. We're going to do a live Q&A. We're just going to hang out. We're going to have some fun. It's age appropriate. I'm going to bring my 5-year-old daughter to be part of the event. And so bring your kids. Let's have some fun. Let's hang out. Let's say hello. Let's get excited for Bills Panthers here in Charlotte and make this part of your weekend. If you would, I do kindly ask, the venue, we're not exactly sure what to expect. So if you could RSVP, we'd greatly appreciate that. Just go to thejoemarino.com. You'll see the event page. You can RSVP very, very quickly. But we really just want to give the venue as much of a heads up as we possibly can so they know what type of staff to have on hand to accommodate. So go to thejoemarino.com to book that, or there's a link in today's show notes where you can just click right on it. Again, day before takeover event at the Waxhaw Tap House, 1 o'clock. Come hang out with us. And to RSVP and for more details, go to thejoemarino.com. FanDuel.com. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and you'll get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put $5 down, and if it hits, you're going to unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. It just makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. So whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, folks, welcome back. Have 3 more items to get to in terms of my practical in-season steps to improve the Buffalo Bills. Number 7 is Maxwell Hairston. Get this guy ready to go. Get him up to speed. And I am sensitive to the whole thing here, right? He's a rookie that hasn't practiced since July 29th. And he probably had, less than 3 padded practices under his belt. I am aware of the journey, the uphill battle that's in place for Maxwell Hairston. And I understand that it should be gradual, right? You want to get him healthy, get him practicing. When he's ready to play in games, you probably want to platoon and then ramp up. But you gotta get there. You got to get there. Obviously, Tre'Davious White is an underwhelming option. He limits the defense, and he's just limited, right? Like, I'm sure Trey White's doing the best he can, but he's got limitations, right? He's trying to stay leveraged. He's trying not to get beat deep. He's doing the best he can. He just doesn't have that much. So your path to upgrading there is getting Maxwell Harrison, your first-round pick, ready to go. And you have a lot of season left. I know it feels like it's quick and all that, but the Bills have played 6 games. They're going to play 11 more regular season games. Get there over the next 3 to 5 weeks. So that way, over your last 6, 7 games, whatever it is, whatever that math is, this is your full-time player that's ready to go for the playoffs. But, it's going to be hard to envision a world where Trey White's not a problem for this defense down the stretch. Your path to getting out of that is Maxwell Hairston. You're paying Benford and you gave a first-round pick for Hairston. What more can you really pour into this? It's disappointing that Dorian Strong got hurt because it looked like he might have been a guy. Who knows what the severity of that neck injury is? It's concerning. But you got to be really deliberate and intent about getting him up to speed and getting him on the field and allowing him to settle in and hopefully be a significant answer for you. Number 8 is you got to replace Taylor Rapp, and I think you got to play Jordan Poyer. I think you got to sign Jordan Poyer to your active roster and put him in there. And it's not because I'm enthralled with the idea of Jordan Poyer. I don't want to be saying this to you. But I don't want to see Taylor Rapp out there anymore either. He's been horrible. It's hard to reconcile the tape, whatever it is, man. If it's injuries, you're not good at playing next to Cole Bishop. The problem is you're just killing the team. So put Poyer out there. Maybe that'll help Bishop. Poyer might be a better player than Rapp. He probably is right now. And he knows the defense. He can help with the communication and all those things. So I think that's where we're at. And I don't expect the Bills to add something at safety. I could absolutely be wrong. I could be. But based on that position and how important it's been, I think they're going to exhaust what they have before they were to make a move that brings in a new starter at this point in the process. Right or wrong, don't be mad at me for saying that. I just think that's the way it is. They've had opportunities to add. They kind of go with the guys they know. For whatever reason, right or wrong, that's what they do. So I'm not expecting, expectations minus reality equals disappointment. I'm not going to sit here and talk myself into the Bills trading for Budda Baker. Not going to talk myself into the Bills signing Justin Simmons. I don't think their behavior in the past says that they will. I like those things, but I'm not expecting it. And so right now, the most interesting idea is Poyer. I know everyone says Jordan Hancock. I hear you. I mean, I understand maybe it can't be worse. I get it, but I have some level of belief that if he was truly the best option, he would be out there. Or if there wasn't some significant concern about him being able to step in and play well that he would. I'm guessing he's not quite ready, right? It's like the Landon Jackson thing. It's like, all right, here he is. What, did you like it? He played 30 snaps so far. Was it better? No, it's not. There's a reason. Now, maybe I'm being silly and they should just put him out there and see what happens. But there is a consequence to that as well, not only to your defense, but for a young player if he's not ready to go. And then the last thing that I want to get into is, all right, these are the most practical, logical shifts to make right now based on who's coming, what you have. If you're going to make an outside move to make a trade, understanding that you can't fix everything. I can't get you a safety, a corner, a linebacker, and a receiver right now. That's going to be tough. But if you can do something, I think it should be at receiver. I got a path to getting better at corner. I don't think they're going to do anything at safety. I got a path to getting better at linebacker. At wide receiver, I think you got to look at this opportunity to call the Saints and talk to them about Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed, who both give you speed and verticality, and Rashid Shaheed's a heck of a punt returner as well. I think the best thing that the Bills can do for their defense is be better on offense. I think it's a game script dependent defense. You want to get teams away from running the ball. Well, I think you got to score. I think you got to put them in positions where they're trying to keep up with you. And I just feel like improving the offense might be the best way to improve the defense. I acknowledge the needs are bigger on defense, but in terms of like what's practical right now in the middle of the year, it's adding that weapon to me offensively. I just said it. Keon Coleman's playing the most snaps of any receiver. He's getting the most targets on the team. Talk about low-hanging fruit as an opportunity to get better. Just spread that around a little bit to other players. I think you will. After week 3, Josh Allen had back-to-back games against the Jets and Dolphins where he threw the ball one time beyond 20 yards. And people were pretty mad about that. There's no downfield passing threat. Low average depth of target. Well, since then, over the last 3 games, Josh Allen has thrown the ball down the field a lot more. 16.5% of his throws have been 20 yards or more down the field. That's the 3rd highest rate in the NFL. He's 4 of 13 for 108 yards and 2 picks. That's a passer rating of 22.8. Only 38.5% of those throws were catchable. There needs to be more of a presence, right? There has to be, and some of that's in Josh Allen, whatever, he's got to throw better passes, but ultimately, is anybody scared of Keon Coleman on vertical routes? I think you got to help yourself here. Give yourself a field stretcher that could also beat man coverage and give yourself something to make your offense more dynamic. Go 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends with Chris Olave. Send Chris Olave down the field and see if they can run with him. Stuff like that. I just feel like the best way to help your defense right now is by becoming more dynamic on offense and then relying on, hey, you're getting a couple of players and and Agan Joby and Hoyt. Hairston's coming. Maybe you get Shaq Thompson going more. You replace Rapp. Like, I can point to things that they can do with reinforcements and lineup changes on defense. On offense, I don't have that. I think that's the best way to do it. I hope the Bills trade for Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed. So there you have it, folks. My 9 steps for the Bills to improve in season. Number 1, your big people on offense are your mismatches. Number 2, less Keon Coleman. Number 3, more Kincaid and Palmer. Number 4, more running backs involvement in the passing game. Number 5, get Hoyt and Agan Joby going. Number 6, figure out how you can deploy Shaq Thompson more. Number 7, get Maxwell Hairston up to speed. Number 8, replace Taylor Rapp with Jordan Poyer. Number 9, trade for Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed. All right, folks, there you have it. Thanks for being here. Tomorrow we'll do herd mentality. Then it's crossover Thursday. We'll start talking about this Bills-Panthers matchup. A big opportunity for the Bills to get to 5-2 before they host the Kansas City Chiefs in week 9. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for being here. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills, and I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.